Boom, we got office swim tutorial. I got to jump in here on a couple of tips for what Freddie can work on and just share some swim philosophy for everybody. So another thing that I did not mention in those pieces of feedback there is the recovery portion of the stroke. So you can see I've got a line drawn. Freddie, your arm kind of comes out very straight like this, right? And there's a drill I'm going to show you in a second that's going to help with that. But I also want to first remind you guys that this portion of the stroke where you're above water, this is called the recovery. So I want you to be intentional to not force this part of the stroke. This is a big time beginner mistake that I see. A lot of guys are coming in and they're trying to like fucking punch the water like this and go forward by aggressive. That's not how we move forward in the water. We move forward in the water by being relaxed up here and then powerful here. This is all about how we are moving our body through the water. So first and foremost, mindset on that recovery portion is be easy, be relaxed, be smooth. And then Freddie, you do such a good job of getting that high elbow, getting the forearm down. Got an Amazon guy, thank you. Getting that forearm down and grabbing water. And that's where the power comes from. That is how we are moving through the water. Now, that's also why it's important to not have our body like this, head up here, feet down here, because all of a sudden we're trying to move through the water and we're like a barge. Like we're like the front of a ship that's just taking on way more water than if we are like this. So that's the idea. Freddie, this is your head up here, right? Just get that head down, sink it a little bit, right? Get those feet feeling the surface of the water. And now that really good pull that you've got, well, now it can just do its thing, right? Now it can just do its thing. I'm going to finish this up here. I got a drill that I got to share with you guys. So Freddie, a good drill for cleaning up that recovery is fingertip drag. Fingertip drag. You can be doing this all the time during your swim, and I'm going to pair this with a second drill catch up real quick. So fingertip drag, right? So that is where you are literally taking your fingers and you are dragging them across the surface of the water. This is going to give you this nice little elbow bend, right? Right now you have no elbow bend. Right now you're like, pointing out of the sky, right? All good. But let's clean that up a little bit. So we got fingertip drag, right? And then we want to pair that with catch up, because I didn't really mention it in the screen grabs that I shared, but you have the same thing going on that BMAC had going on, where you've got your one arm is pulling back here before the other arm enters the water. So you've got this period in the swim stroke where you're not pulling any water in front of you. And so we want to get the fingertip drag going, and we want to do catch up. So keep the other hand out front, catch it up, and now you go like this. And then you just get this timing. Swimming is all about timing. It's kind of like the golf swing, right? In the golf swing, it's all about just the transfer of power. I don't need to be able to bench 400 pounds to be able to hit a ball 300 yards, right? It's all about weight transfer, timing, and torquing through the ball, right? And in the swim stroke, it's the same deal. We need to be able to stay out in front like this, and we're just constantly grabbing water, right? We're relaxed on the top, the recovery here, grabbing more water. Now, the last little thing that I'll chime in with, and this is something that came out of Blaine's swim lesson that he got here, is not having the hands. Blaine's hands were kind of flaring out like this. And I don't know that I saw that in Freddie or BMAC's videos, and I haven't watched Phil's yet. But I want to also remind you guys or encourage you that we can almost be like we're fucking digging into sand as like kids on the beach, right? Your front end, like get that right into the over the barrel, right? And don't worry so much about this like glide out here. That often for these beginner guys, right? We're doing our first 70.3, first couple 70.3s. We want to just get into grabbing that water, right? That's the idea, Freddie. Boom, boom, boom. That's how we do it. I'm very impressed, Freddie. You got a way better swim stroke than I expected. All this delay, man, what are we afraid of? You can swim. Let's go. Boom. All right, I got to follow up with another piece of the complete swim stroke, because we got all this talk on the front end, right? And we're talking about not having this gap, right, where this arm's through and then this arm's not in the water yet. So we're working on looking like this, right? But now this unlocks really the complete picture of the swim stroke, because all of a sudden we start focusing on this front end so much. Well, then what happens? we get a little lazy on going all the way through the hips and sending water all the way back in the pull, all the way through thumb to thigh. And so the idea of triathlon swimming, whether you're a first timer or whether you're trying to qualify for Kona, is that we are constantly working on these different aspects of it, right? We got the front end, we try to be continuous, nice and smooth, but then all of a sudden, we're a little weak in the back end. So then all of a sudden, we work on being really long. We do distance per stroke. We do thumb to thigh drill. Oh, well, now all of a sudden we're doing that. Well, then the front end's getting a little bit lazy. Now all of a sudden the gap is back a little bit. Oh, fuck. Gotta clean up the gap, right? So it's this constant interplay. And when you guys are seeing in the swims that I prescribe, why do we do catch-up drill? Why are we doing fists, right? That's front end work. But then also, why are we doing distance per stroke? Why are we doing thumb to thigh? Well, that's back end work. And it's constantly working on those two things and getting the whole idea of the timing down. So I just wanted to sprinkle that out. I don't want everybody to get too crazy on front end work. We need that front end. But we also got to make sure that we're getting maximum power and maximum efficiency out of the stroke and not giving up on it halfway, right? This would be like halfway as you get here and it's just like, oh, now to the next one, now to the next one, now to the next one. It's like, no, we got to go all the way and we got to connect the whole thing. So had to add that in. Let's go.